Hello friends, welcome to my channel. Today we are going to learn about partitioning shapes where we'll have an idea what is halves, thirds or fourths. This video is for my first grade student who are just learning the what is halves, thirds and fourths and understanding the idea of fraction for later on grades. So let's get started. Let's draw a circle and make it two parts. Now, by looking at the circle, tell me, are both of the parts are equal or not? No, the both the parts are not equal. So, it is not half. We can consider it as half if the both of the parts are equal. So, let's draw picture where the circle is divided to two equal parts. See, I made the circle in two equal parts. Now, I am going to color one of the parts. So I can say 1/2 of the circle is shaded. If I make another circle, make it two equal parts and shade both of the parts, let's see what happens then. See, you can clearly say that whole circle is shaded. So I can say two halves are shaded. There are two parts and both of the parts are shaded. Now let's try example of different shape. I made two squares and each of the square is divided into two equal parts. First square, I am shading one part. Second square, I am shading both of the parts. So I can say for the first square, 1/2 is shaded and the second square, 2/2 or one whole is shaded. This time I'm giving an example of rectangle. I draw two rectangles. Both of the rectangles are divided into equal two parts. The first rectangle I am coloring 1/2. Second rectangle I am coloring 2/2 or one whole. Let's take another example. You can see I draw two hexagons. By making this vertical line, each hexagon is divided into two trapezoid. I'm coloring the first part, that means I'm coloring 1/2. Now I'm coloring the whole hexagon, that means I colored 2/2. First one, 1/2, second one, 2/2. Now let's talk about thirds. As you see, I draw three circles. Each of the circle is divided between three equal parts. If I shade one part of the first circle, I can say 1/3 is shaded. Let's write 1/3. Second one, I'm shading both parts, two parts actually. I can say I, I shaded 2/3. Third one, I'm shading all the three parts. I can say I shade 3/3 or one whole. Now let's take an example of rectangles. As you see, I draw three rectangles. Each rectangle is divided into three equal parts. If I shade the first rectangle, then I can say that I shade 1/3 of the whole rectangle. So 1/3. Second rectangle, I am going to color or I am going to shade two parts. Then I can say I shade 2/3. Third rectangle, I am shading all the three parts. I can say I shaded 3/3 or one whole. Now take the example of a hexagon. There are three hexagons I draw here, and as you see, I divided each hexagon into three equal parts. This is the way you can divide the hexagon into three equal parts. The first hexagon, I'm shading one part. That means I shade 1/3. Second hexagon, I am shading two parts. That means I shade 2/3. Third hexagon, I shade all the three parts. So I can say I shade 3/3 or one whole. Now let's learn what is fourths. As you see, I draw four circles. Each circle is divided into four equal parts. I shade one part. That means I shade 1/4. 1/4. Second circle, I shade two parts. That means I shade 2/4. Third circle, I am shading three parts. That means I shade 3/4. fourth circle, I'm coloring all the four equal parts. So I can say I shade 4/4 or one whole. In my next picture, I draw two rows of four rectangles. The first row, each of the rectangle, I'm going to divide into four equal parts by making horizontal line. If I make three horizontal lines, then the whole rectangle is divided between four equal parts. For the second row, I am dividing each rectangle into four equal parts by making vertical lines. If I make three vertical lines for each rectangle, then each rectangle is divided between four equal parts. First column, each rectangle, I am coloring 1/4. Second column, both of the rectangle, I am coloring two parts, so I color 2/4. Third rectangle, third row, each rectangle, three parts I am coloring. So there are three. So 3/4 I shaded. Fourth column, I am coloring the whole rectangle, all 4/4. So first one, I shade 1/4. Second column, I shaded 2/4. Third column, I shaded 3/4. Fourth column, I shaded 4/4 or one whole for each rectangle. Hopefully, this video is useful for preliminary understanding of a fraction. The preliminary understanding of the fraction is very important for the later on grades. See you in my next first grade video. Thank you. Thank you for watching this video. Please like, share, subscribe this channel.